Fanatic, welcome. My name is Henry Rollins. I am your voice of choice right here at 89.9 Superfine all the time. K, we're going all the way. C, what you can be. R, because you're a star. W, better check out Jason Bentley, 9 to noon, Monday through Friday, right here at KCRW. Morning Madness with Jason's Morning Mafia. Morning becomes eclectic. Fanatic, I am joined by my brother in Sonic Jihad, Engineer X and Engineer Amrock. Fanatic, we are the Mighty Three, and every single Sunday we bring you nothing but the very best. Fanatic, we are broadcasting to you live from the Jason Bentley Multimedia Octagon. KCRW, part of the Jason Bentley Communications Network. Fanatic, we have a fantastically special guest with us tonight, the one and only John Dwyer. Has thrown himself into a swimming pool of boiling oil, roasted himself to a golden brown, crispy on the outside, tender on the inside, put an apple into his mouth, jumped up onto a table, onto a silver platter, and for the next 2 hours is ready to serve himself up to you in great plentitude. Ladies and gentlemen, John Dwyer.
Good evening. How you doing, Henry?
Good. Thank you for stopping me from talking.
A total pleasure, man.
Yes. So, John, thanks for making it in. John just got here from Omaha, Nebraska. And he played the Maha Festival yesterday in Omaha, hopped on an airplane today, went from LAX to beautiful, glittering Santa Monica into the Jason Bentley Memorial Building, KCRW, part of JCOM.
Beautiful.
And I don't know if you know the slogan of JCOM. You'll like it eventually. That's what they say about Jason Bentley. Jason Bentley, a limited edition. Listen to KCRW and catch Jason Bentley before it's all over. Fanatic, we brought Mr. John in to the studio because we are going to listen to, as I've been teasing and poking you and prodding you for the last few weeks, we're going to listen to the brand new OC's record, Face Stabber, from start to finish. I have a ton of questions for John. So this show is like double great because we have a lot of music and we have a great guest and I have a lot of questions. So there'll be some talk, but mainly music because it's a full double album, Fanatic. It's 80 serious minutes of music and I am hell-bent on getting through all of it. And so, John, just a couple of questions before we get right into it.
Shoot.
How did you write this record? I mean, because before I asked this question, I should have prefaced it with this. I noticed that Face Stabber, which I've played a bunch of times now and I really like, it reminds me of like the last time I saw OC's live, which was a few months ago at the Terragram, October 31st, and it was really drum driven. You know, it's just really like it was like a herd of animals running over, like especially the encore, which is just fantastic. This album is reminding me of kind of the last time I saw you. And so it sounds to me like you're really taking advantage of the rhythm section on this record.
Oh, yeah, for sure. The drums are the motor for the band, especially on the new record. They're right up front in the mix as well. And everything was written pretty much starting with the rhythm section, jammed out live in the studio. And the drummers are definitely the most important part of the band, I think, especially live and on this record. Yeah,
because it's different than your other records. Like you said, the drums are really coming on with it. Just like when I saw you last time, it was so strong. Okay, so let's stop talking and play some music for a minute. This track is called the Daily Heavy. Here we go.
Go to the Dawson, please report to the T-Making station.
Phonetic. That was the OC's 3 tracks from the brand new album Face Stabber. You just heard the title track, Face Stabber. That title lodges in the memory. And before that track, I love the title of this, The Experimenter. And we started off the show with The Daily Heavy. We have a lot more OCs to go. And so we're not going to do a lot of talking. We're going to do a whole lot of listening, though. So that's going to be a benefit to us all. Besides John Dwyer being here, Matt Jones, who runs the Castle Face outfit, he's also here. He got dragged into the drama by picking up John at LAX a couple of hours ago, because John was in the beautiful Midwest rocking out last night, and his bandmates very wisely said, "I'm not going in there." And so it's only Matt and John with us. I got some questions for you, Mr. Dwyer. As far as this record, where did this record come from? From jams? Did you write it on the couch and bring it to the guys? A mixture? Like how?
We spent about 4 months, maybe 5 months, just improvising in the studio, and we would just record every single thing, and then I would go through and just call out all the good parts, and we would figure out how to play them again. Basically,
Right.
like a month later, I would go through and like do edits and start actually writing from what had just come naturally in the studio. So this was almost entirely written from improvisation.
Wow.
Yeah.
Have you ever made a record like that before?
Not exactly. Like this one was the most in that direction, but before that we have written large chunks of the last few records like that. Every now and then I would come in with a riff. I mean, still do that occasionally, and some of those improvised jams would come from a sort of preconceived idea, but by the time it ends up on tape, it's completely different than we initially started it.
Right. So a question for Matt, if you can answer this. Sure. You're the sane one holding down the fort at Castle Face.
I think.
How much do you guys make plans like, okay, it's a new year, we're going to do an OC's record besides all the other cool bands you put out? I'm just talking about John's stuff. Do you go to John like, what do you got? You have anything for the first quarter?
I mean, it's been at least the past 3 records that you've just kind of been like, all right, we're going into the studio in March. So it's like, and you know, the distributor guys are like, oh, August is a good time to put out a record.
Yeah.
So,
Perfect for touring.
We've been kind of trying to hit the same marks each time.
Right. So he comes at you artistically. I got some ideas, and you coordinate with distribution.
Sure.
And just make sure everyone is
layout. I'm the rest of the way guy.
You're the meat
Right.
and potatoes man of the label. He does all the heavy lifting. You know?
Because I kind of understood that relationship with you guys, where John's coming in with the art and you're doing the logistics and all of that stuff. And so, how far into the year do you guys plan? Like by the
6 months.
So 6 months in,
6
you've
months
got
out.
the
6 days.
6 days.
But like, how many months in where you have the entire Castle Face year schedule?
I mean, everything's usually 6 months out, so it rolls.
Okay,
you know?
I see.
So now
you're not going by fiscal quarter. You're just going by like 6 months.
Yeah, we're working on the spring of next year, like with this stuff.
So you got stuff for next year
Oh, yeah.
in the works.
Great stuff.
Nice. I
Some
can't
things
wait.
penciled in. We're hoping that they pan out. Yeah.
Gotcha. No, I understand. We're going to spin the hard drive. We have like 30 seconds of business. Hopefully it's Jason's scintillating voice. I'm going to miss that guy. Oh, Fanatic, in case you've gone to the KCRW Superstore and found some of the Jason Bentley merch is gone. It's because it was limited edition. The Jason Bentley Executive Time condoms gone. And I don't know who is buying them, but we had thousands of them last week. And somebody bought him up. Don't send him here asking him to autograph them,
Get Bentley.
because he's like, he gets, the big guy gets angry. And now the hard drive.
Monday on Press Play. In the 60s and 70s, protests and music went hand in hand. Now, artists still write songs that denounce war, racism, and injustice, but they make videos too.
Music itself, pure music listening, may no longer be quite as important to people and used regularly. At some level, it's the visual component, and I think Childish Gambino is a great example.
I'm Barbara Bogave, Modern Protest Anthems. That's Monday at noon on Press Play here on KCRW.
Fanatic, before we go any further, you know what I always tell you about this time in the show. Please go to henryrollins.com and check out the show notes for this here show, because if you check out the show notes, you will see the the site address for Castle Face Records, where you can order up the 2 different variants of the Face Stabber record. There's the Blood in the Eye one, which is a beautiful clear with a big red blob. And then there's the Nebula, the Blue Nebula. And then in the UK, there's like what, red and orange or red and yellow?
Yeah, it's red and orange, and then in the U.S., I think it's red and clear.
Red and what? There's another one. What, Revolver put it out?
Revolver's got one. Yeah, there's 4 total.
I have no idea, actually.
I have pictures of all of them if you want to.
I'm going to go to Revolver. I'm going to go to Midheaven tonight. But anyway, Fanatic, if you go to the website, you'll see some of the information. If you're one of those people like Denise in Colorado, I know you're listening. You want to get all the variants. And those nice people who I met at Gelson's the other night, who we had that nice exchange and we did photos in the parking lot. I hope that you're listening. And so, John, well, we talked in the parking lot. I said, you got to listen to the show on Sunday. And they promised they would. Anyway, I want you to pronounce the name of track 4, John, because I can't do it. I don't want to get it wrong. Also, I want you to tell me what the hell it means.
Snicker Snee. It's like a twist on it's a sword. It's the sound Snicker Snack.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
I never would have been able to.
Yeah, that's just for me. That's not for everybody else.
Okay, it's like right out of Canterbury Tales or
Yeah,
something.
that's exactly it.
Whoa! Thank
Nice,
you.
nice reference, buddy.
1871, ninth grade English. It still stays with me.
Lordly reference.
Okay, and now some music. Phonetic, that was a track called Fu Shi off the brand new OC's record called Face Stabber. And before that was Snickers Snee. And again from Face Stabber. So Face Stabber, it's a full-on double album. And it's interesting to watch Mr. Dwyer finally commit to 33 RPM. It's been years since he slows it down. Usually with like Orc and these amazing records, it's a double album, but it's 3 sides and it's cut at 45, so the sound is amazing. But I saw the labels the other day, and this one's 33, right?
Yeah, it's 33 RPM.
And it's a full-on 4-sided 80-minute thing.
Very bloated.
And no. I disagree with you. I have a question about how rapidly you release stuff, and I'm only going to assume. I'm not trying to tell you what you are or anything. It seems to me that it's not a thing where like I must make more music. I think you would have difficulty if someone told you couldn't. Where this is in you, it's got to come out. What I'm trying to say is I don't think you're releasing so many records to try and impress anybody or try and outdo anybody. I get the idea that this is really in you because none of these records seem gratuitous. And as to your creative process, are you always kind of on?
In between every proper release, we have a lot of smaller releases, but in between every proper record every year, we pretty much write on and off throughout the year, and I don't really have a job, so this is kind of it. And
Right.
I think I enjoy it, so like I'm happy to write. Every day, I play guitar every day, and whatever comes out of it just gets added to the pile to be
Right.
picked through, but for sure, we're working all the time, kind of, yeah.
'Cause I'm forgetting there was the Dead Medic 12-inch.
Which was culled from 2 jams on. We always try to buy more tape than we need when we're in the studio. So if we end up with an extra day, we'll just write on the fly, which is kind of my favorite thing to do.
And then there's a more recent 12-inch. I apologize for forgetting.
Clearly Invisible.
Oh, see, I was going to forget as well. Yeah, that's why we brought the big guns here. Clearly Invisible was the Simply
Great one.
Saucer cover.
Oh, I'm glad I've got Matt here. I've got a collector boy question. The Grave Blockers EP is just one of my favorite OC's records.
Mine
I've
too.
got a lot of the Rock is Hell variants, the 7-inch version.
Right.
Here's my question to you, and I know that he would probably not know, but if anyone would know, it'd be you. I'm aware of the Creeping Moss Clear with the beautiful green blob.
Right.
And then I'm aware of the mint green one. And right? Is it solid green?
I think it's just solid. It's the same mossy green.
Okay, green. And then there's the UK one that's clear.
Right.
And so you have clear with a green blob, clear and green. So did you kind of make a matching set? Was that like a poetic thing?
Well, I mean, I usually pick out all these colors together.
I thought we got a discount on olive drab wax.
No, I mean,
Because they line up really beautifully. I did that one night. I put them all out on the table.
No,
I'm like,
I
look
thought to
at
myself,
that.
oh well, I really like this green. It goes with the brown cover. And usually I'm just like, what do you think about these colors?
For
And
the
he says
most
yes.
part, Matt actually is the one who decides on the colors. Like, I'll be like, for a while, I used to try and be in charge of that, but eventually I was just like, you just pick, and I'll just like poo-poo or agree on certain things. But for the most part, he's usually pretty spot on.
Yeah, I think I wrote you a couple of years ago. I forget, it was like the bloodshot eyeball or whatever that one was.
Yeah, we've
Like,
had a couple.
odd entrances, weird. Yeah, and I wrote you about it. You went, I don't know.
Yeah, you got to ask Matt. I have no idea. I have no idea.
That's when I started writing you about.
Yeah, murky web. Oh, I'm there.
Yeah, and so can we expect a green Grave Blockers with a clear blob?
Ooh, and then it's not possible. The vinyl is a different density. That wouldn't really work.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
Well, that's so cool to know.
Yeah. Yeah, clear, it's like there's a lot of, you can't do like clear splatter. It just disappears.
Wow, interesting.
We're
Okay.
learning tonight. We're
Yeah.
learning.
Well, you guys make so many interesting color variants. I guess you would have gotten the 411 on this as a practicality.
Right. Well, I worked at Pirates Press for a long time.
That's how I met Matt.
Yeah.
He was he did our first record over there
yeah.
together. That was
Yeah.
maybe
Wow,
some
back.
misinformation there, but that's my recollection, is that we talked wax at length.
Yeah, I met Matt a little bit before you, Northern Cal. He probably won't admit this. I gave him a plastic gun, and somewhere in the Tenderloin, it was the first of 3 liquor stores we held up that night. And like, it was amazing how well he functions on peyote.
Oh, yeah.
He just does it for the rush, though.
Well,
He throws the money
But
away
he
after
looks,
the
he
robbery.
looks the guy right in the eye.
Yeah.
And like they believe him
Listen, dude, you don't want to get involved in this.
like that.
That wax combination would never work.
Yeah, he tells them about density, and then he takes
Density.
their money. Fanatic, we're going to spin the hard drive. Like there's like 30 seconds of information. Then we're coming back with a blob, a non-clear blob of music.
Hey, I'm Jason Bentley. Tomorrow on Morning Becomes Eclectic, we've got new music from Friendly Fires, the latest from Active Child, and new music from Big Thief. Also, tomorrow's giveaways, your chance to see jazz icon Herbie Hancock live at the Hollywood Bowl, and your shot at tickets to attend Desert Nights, a Harry Nilsson tribute at the Standard Hollywood. Morning Becomes Eclectic, weekdays at 9 on KCRW.
Fanatic, we have the first of 2 very long tracks. Face Stabber has 2 like side long jams, and the first one, how do you say that? You do it.
Scudum and Scorpius.
And what's Scuttum?
They're constellations, or maybe
Really?
Yeah, they're astral bodies.
Nice.
Yeah. Thank you, phone app, for that information. It's a long and boring story, but yeah, they when I first discovered them, they were over Australia,
Wow.
and we were in Australia.
This is a serious epic song. I was listening to it this morning, and all the different parts. How did you guys assemble that? Did you play it live all the way through?
No. This song was a tough one to write, and it started out with just the general melodious idea of the body of the song where the vocals are, and then we wrote many different parts for this one that all ended up, I think, going in the garbage. And then Tom Dolis, our new keyboard player, who's phenomenal and can write all day and basically can do anything you ask him to do. I asked him to write an intro for it, and I had sent him some old prog bands like, I think it was Birth Control. I sent him a Birth Control song, and I was like, this kind of thing. Or no, it was Camel.
Oh, wow.
I was like, this kind of heavy organ intro, because he's a fantastic organ player. And he came back to me with 2 ideas for intros, and one of which was exactly what I'd asked for, and the other one he had sort of taken the ball and run with it. And that was the synthesizer open to this record. And when I heard that, I was so floored by it. I was like, this is it. So we had to recreate that in the studio, which was a tough night. It was just me and him, but we got it done, or he got it done while I stood there telling him what to do and acting like I knew what I was talking about.
Right.
And then the end of it was just a kind of happy accident. One of the last times we were playing it in rehearsals, and we sort of ran with it. And Tom is so good at the funky keyboard line that it sort of pulled out that whole unwinding thread of the song at the end there.
Is there any plans to do it live?
This
A
one
live version?
I would love to, but probably not.
Okay.
We have to pick and choose our battles.
No, I hear you.
We have been playing the other Long Jam live, though.
It blows my mind, all the different parts. Well, like, let's talk more music. So this is this Scutum and Scorpius. It is a true epic. Fanatic, Golu?
Golu, yes.
I'm so glad I'm saying that. Now, what's that mean?
Golu is my variation on Ghoul.
Okay.
Yeah,
Very nice.
The song's about a cannibal. We were thinking of ghoulish things. That one's pretty literal.
And before that, Scutum and Scorpius. Fantastic. What a monster track. And so, Fanatic, this what you've been hearing for this entire hour are tracks from the brand new OC's record called Face Stabber. If you go to the Castle Face site right now, just type in Castle Face Records and go to the OC's page. You'll see ordering information for the 2 color variants that you can get. Two others are findable, and believe me, I'm going to find the 4th one coming out of Midheaven, which would be Revolver. And so get all that stuff. And right now, I'm very happy to tell you that you're listening to member-supported KCRW Santa Monica, Los Angeles, KDRW Santa Barbara, KCRI Indio, Palm Springs, KCRU Oxnard, Ventura, and KCRY Mojave, a community service of Santa Monica College and NPR for Southern California.
Malibu burned in a devastating wildfire last year, and companies selling home insurance are starting to leave, or they're jacking up premiums.
It's kind of a bean counter thing. You know, they're looking at the dollars and cents, and they're saying, oh my gosh, we've got to get out of this.
I'm Steve Chiatakis. On Greater LA, what's a homeowner to do when the price of insurance is too damn high? That's tomorrow at 1 on KCRW.
Fanatic, it is hour 2 of our show. Our guests for the entire time is Matt Jones of Castle Face Records and John Dwyer of the OCs, Damaged Bug, OCS, etc. Ooh, I got a question. I was playing Memory of a Cut Off Head the other night because I bought every color variant. I'm still chewing my way through. I think I have like 2 more to go. Any other plans to make more records with that lineup?
Not at present, no, but we do have some things in the wings with some of the people involved in that. I don't want to make any specific announcements right now. But we have some special surprises coming up from that sound, but nothing for me.
Because it's really, really good. Can I ask other questions about stuff that you might be doing or might not be doing?
Sure.
Because I have no idea.
No, please dig in.
Damaged Bug. That's a band I really like. It's your more experimental side. Yep. Do you have any ideas for Damaged Bug? Or are you too busy with OCs?
40 songs recorded for that right now.
Wow.
None of which are done, and I've kind of hit a wall where I don't know, I just can't finish them. So I started working on a new project with that project in line with Tom Dolis, my keyboard player from OCs, and he's been helping me work on another special little secret thing, and I think that'll probably be out before the next proper Damaged Bug record, but there's a little surprise thing we got coming up probably early next year, I'm hoping.
Okay, so Damaged Bug isn't over?
No. I have actually more than enough material to make 3 terrible records, but
those
I'm going to try and make it one good one out of it, you know?
So we are going to continue on with one of my favorite tracks from the Face Stabber record. Just before we go into Poisoned Stones, when you're on tour, like you've been in and out of Europe all summer, you're going to come back. You're off to Europe several days from now. By the end of August, early September, you're taking on North America. By October 31st, Los Angeles native residents, the man and the band will be at the Telegram Ballroom at least the 3rd time in a row.
We did 2 Halloweens in a row?
Yeah, I've been to 2 of them.
That.
And on Halloween night this year, I'm going to be in Chicago doing a thing with Jared Yates Sexton, the guy who wrote The Man They Wanted Me to Be. And he and I are going to talk to an audience about toxic masculinity and white male privilege in
on
America.
Halloween.
Want to trade with me?
No, that actually sounds like an interesting evening to me.
The question I have for you is, when you guys go out on tour, like, how do you pick the set material? Like, have you been playing Face Stabber material this year?
We've been slowly working it into the repertoire. Basically, when we get on stage, we know what we can play, and we kind of pick out from each new album what we think is going to work live, because a lot of times people don't want to hear it if it's too slow, or I don't know. We just kind of know by the general vibe, but we just get up on stage and shout out the songs, and I make sure the band knows them because they work hard. We rehearse a lot. You know, after we've written everything, we rehearse it and tighten it up, and then we play it once on stage, and if it goes terribly, we might do it one more time and then give up. But this one's actually has a lot of songs that have been working out good live.
Like last night, you were on stage.
Yep.
Do you remember the set list?
I can tell you that we played the Daily Heavy for the very first time in front of the crowd, and a handful of them seemed very excited because obviously they had heard the record.
Right.
And we did Go Lou, the song that just played.
Right.
And I think that was it last night. I think we only did 2 new ones.
So what other records were you pulling from?
We have a pretty standard list. It's about 40 songs, but I think there's a lot of new material, but we still have some old favorites in there. There's still The Dream and Tidal Wave and God, I'm going blank right now. But it's pretty much from the past, I'd say 10 years mostly. Okay. We don't really go back that deep. OCS tended to dip more into the earlier OC's material. Right. We would do variations on that stuff of the old band of Bridget, Mike, and Petey's version of the band with me. Yeah.
Okay. Well, right now, from the Face Stabber record, basically we're getting into the second half of this 80-minute epic. This track is called Poisoned Stones.
Image on the screen, disrupting a broken mind. Link us all together like a spider web. Wishing down information, open up your eyes one more time.
Fanatic, do not readjust your thong. Do not readjust your dial. There's no buffering or static breakup. You heard the sound drop out. That was engineer Amrock flipping and dipping, parrying and ducking FCC non-compliant language. In the free world, you can say whatever you want, like on, if you're a big shot at Sirius. But here in the terrestrial world, we must abide by the FCC. And I'm always reminded of Colonel Kurtz, men who drop fire on children cannot write beep on their airplanes because it's obscene. And so we have to be careful of language issues. So sorry about that. And I think we have at least one more song with you've been a naughty boy, John.
Sorry.
Language. Don't worry about it.
I'm going to potty mouth.
The First
There's so many
Amendment,
words
the First
in the
Amendment
English
doesn't fly in the Jason Bentley Multimedia Octagon. Jason Bentley, how I worship him so. And, I missed out on the executive time condoms. I came up with that this morning. I said, I got to remember to say that. Fanatic, we just heard a whole bunch of great new OC's music. You just heard Heartworm. S.S. Luker's mom. Who's S.S. Luker?
Luker's this guy we know who is an unpleasant man, but his mom is a lovely, lovely lady.
Huh. And so you wrote a song about her.
Yeah, it's about her just to irritate him.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm a petty man.
So does SS know that his mom's been immortalized?
I hope so.
Should we call him and ask?
It's more of an email thing with this guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know he owes me $40.
Yeah,
Before
40
SS
quid, I believe.
Yes.
He's English.
Psyops Dispatch. And before that, we started off with Poisoned Stones. And we're going to spin the hard drive. We're going to see if there's, we're going to rummage around in Jason Bentley's cubbyhole to see if there's any teeny tiny little pinches of hashish left. And we'll continue on with the show.
KCRW thanks Los Angeles Times, presenting Eat, See, Hear. The outdoor movie series is happening now through September 14th, each Saturday, featuring food trucks, live music, and movies. Info and tickets at eatseehear.com.
So, guess what? We know that some of you listening right now are not KCRW members. It's okay, we're not judging, but you can still donate that old car, boat, RV, motorcycle, jet ski, or whatever that's gathering dust in your garage. We'll do all the paperwork and take it away. You don't even have to know you're supporting great public radio. Do it now at kcrw.com/cars.
Fanatic, our guest is the great Matt Jones, the great John Dwyer. Both of them are Castle Face related. They met in the 70s.
Rehab.
In Paris. John was a poet. Matt was just a drunk with a lot of charisma. And the two of them, along with Henry Miller, passed the time until World War II scuttled them back to America, where they've been residing ever since. I got probably some of that wrong, but for the most part, I'm right. Question. It seems to me you guys go in not half-baked, but you do allow in the recording process for interesting things to happen. So when you, say with this album, when you were actually recording, how much of the album that we're hearing just kind of happened wow, that's interesting, put it in?
I would say about a third of the record was left up to chance.
Is that a conscious decision?
Yeah. I mean, the perfect example is Henchlock, the last song of the record. We had jammed it maybe 3 times, and I sort of hammered it out from those jams, and then we played it 1 time before we went in the studio properly, and then I refused to play with the band again before that because I didn't want to spend all our money in one place, as it were. Right. So we wanted to have the feeling, of rawness to that song, and ended up being, I think, a really great version of it, better than the previous ones. When we went into it, we were pretty nervous. We're like, we'd have no information on this one, but it came out really nice. Had the horn section and stuff, so I was happy with it.
So you trust the band?
Yeah, completely. Not Tim Hellman, but the rest of them, yeah.
Yeah, sure. No, he owes me $40 as well.
Yeah.
So years ago, you wrote me hey, just got to town, and I'll take you out to dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And so you took me to Subway,
Yep.
Which I'm still rubs.
I'm not.
Still
I'm a
rubs
big
me a
spender.
little raw.
Yeah.
I'm kidding, but we
$5
you, me,
footlongs,
Matt,
man.
and Ms. Heidi, we went out to dinner,
Mm-hmm.
and here's what I've noticed: since you got to L.A., you said, I'm getting a band together. We're doing this whole thing. I'm like, wow, like you left everyone up north and you came down here.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what I've noticed, and if I'm wrong, please, tell me I'm wrong. Since you got to L.A., and I don't know if it's an L.A. thing, the music of the OCs has gotten a bit, not aggressive, it's just gotten more like this record, like really in your face, less singing. There's just a lot more power in this. Was it the move? Was it the choice to put more potency in the rhythm section? There is a marked change in the OCs, even though you've had a few lineup changes in the last few years.
No, I agree. I think partially the lack of vocal melody is that I'm not as good a singer without Bridget, and even though she's
Right.
on these records, she's not doing it live with us, which sort of brought me to focus a little bit more on the guitar playing and the orchestration with the band. But it definitely, I think part of getting older, too, for me was always the fear that I was going to make something really terrible suddenly, even though I've seen a lot of guys and girls age and make better music as they get older. But it was always a fear of me, so I think my knee-jerk East Coast reaction was to make something more aggressive the older I got. So, but I also have to come back to that every now and then. We always started in like punk and metal bands, so it always feels good to play all these kinds of music, you know? But this record has definitely got some aggressive moments.
I've been thinking about that because of all the cool OCs reissues, like records I haven't played
Very mellow stuff.
like in a while.
Yeah.
I haven't played the records like for like 5 years or something because I'm so into all the new stuff. And like some reissue will come out and I'll get it. And I'm like, oh yeah, I remember when they used to sound like this.
Yeah.
And now it's just a far more exploratory. I don't know. You keep
It's
it
funny.
interesting.
It's less drugs but more aggressive somehow. I'm not sure how that worked out. I think we wrote more quiet music when we were dipping a little more, so that's
okay.
appropriate, right?
Yeah. I mean,
It's true.
Face Stabber isn't the subtlest
Yeah,
title.
we're not one for subtlety.
Yeah, well, no, that one lodges in the memory.
Yeah.
Face Stabber.
Yeah.
Okay, well, at least you're being upfront.
My mom liked it.
So do you consult?
She could no, she was like, "You're an idiot." We had a good laugh about it. She's very East Coast too.
God, the only thing my mom ever says to me is like, "Can I please come upstairs?" I'm
Just
kidding.
please leave the light on. Please
I'm
leave the light
kidding. I believe our next track we're going to have some of those dropouts because we have 2 moments of at 21 seconds and 1 minute and 12 seconds of FCC uncompliant, non-compliant music.
on. The M word.
We have some words,
M.
so
M,
get ready
as in
for
M&Ms.
beep and beep. So here comes a track right now from Face Stabber called "Together Tomorrow."
Tapping in the window. Who's that? Dry out your eyeball. Blacking out the mirror. Lie back. Slapping on the wrist now. Tap, tap, tap. Leading up slowly. Why is that? Underneath the ocean. You like that? When can I see you? Like that? Maybe tomorrow.
Fanatic, that was Captain Loosely by the OCs from the brand new album Face Stabber. And before that was a track called Together Tomorrow. The brand new OCs record called Face Stabber is it's out. There's at this time, I believe, 4 different color variants, 3 in America and 1 in the UK. Go to Castleface Records and just pull up the OCs page. You'll not only see ordering information, but you'll see images of the Blue Nebula and Blood in the Eye color variants. I cannot wait to get my copies. Also, Fanatic, great news. There's a great Mikey Young recording from many years ago on cassette that is now on vinyl. And how much do we love Mikey Young.
Mikey.
And he is kind of interesting in that not only is he a very talented producer and musician in his own right, he also seems to master like every other record in Australia. And I was just in Australia with Iggy in April, and I hit these different record stores, and anytime I see something mastered by Mikey Young, I buy it, because I just don't think he'll master anything that's not good. And I've never bought a record mastered by Mikey Young that wasn't good. Anyway, there is some old recordings of Mikey Young that just went from cassette to vinyl. It's called "You Feelin' Me," and that is like basically available right now on Castleface. And I just got promoed on a CD version of it. I don't have my vinyl yet, but I got the CD version, and it's fantastic. And we're going to be getting tracks from that to you ASAP. So many good records still coming out this year, and I know of a couple of records coming out next year. I'm not at liberty to say anything, but oh, Fanatic, do we have some reasons to run to the record store? You've got great North American dates coming up, John. Question for you. You basically are playing kind of nowish till Halloween. After October 31st in Los Angeles at the Terragram Ballroom, do you have any other shows planned for 2019?
We have a few things coming up, nothing which is announced yet, but pretty much November and December are our time to start to relax before we start the writing process again.
Right.
And everybody gets to go see their family and
Right,
whatnot around the holidays, you know.
Because you guys have been working pretty hard this year. So when you guys go on tour, do you bring records with you to sell?
Yes, it's kind of the only time we actually sell T-shirts outside of the website for Castleface. And vinyl, we usually ship a pile out to New York City to Death by Audio, and then the other half come with us in a Sprinter.
And you pick it up and you sell it night to night. So people who don't get it from the website or the store can hopefully find it this
Yeah,
autumn
they can
on
find
tour.
stuff that I have on the road. If they like the show and they want to buy a record, by all means. And we usually sell it pretty cheap at the show.
Cool. Well,
Not to undersell the label. Sorry, Matt.
Expensive online.
Very expensive online. Your firstborn.
We have John and Matt on the show because we're fans. We love the Castleface label. And as you know, we play music of John Dwyer almost every week on this show, and we've been doing it for a long time. So obviously, we're in the tank for the man, the label, and the band. But I want to ask you, John, like when you go out for the remainder of these shows this year, how much is the set going to change? Like if someone wants to go see 3 East Coast shows, if they're going to maybe take the train and do an Amtrak weekend, does the set vary much?
It does, because we usually honestly do between an hour and a half to a 2-hour set when it's our own gig. So it tends to be a little bit longer than a festival show or something, but we still have too much material to fit into 1 or even 2 nights. So there's a slight variation between the actual set list every night, and then there's the stretches of improvisation where, it could be a total catastrophe, or the next night could be a really magical, crowdy moment. So
I love those 25-minute encores.
That's when you can go to the bar
really
and you're not missing anything. You can come back 5 minutes later and be like, oh, it was a mild variation.
Well, I mentioned that because there's 3 Brooklyn shows.
Yep.
At Warsaw. Love
We'll
that
definitely
venue.
be able to
2
squeeze in
Thalia Halls.
Yep.
Love that venue in Chicago.
Me too. It's a good spot.
3 Chapel shows in San Francisco.
It's in San Francisco. We're going to play one song every night. Just an hour and a half version of. It's going to be a cover as well.
Do you ever consider?
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Do you ever consider doing 2 LAs?
You know what? The only reason we're not doing 2 LAs is because, first of all, it lands on Halloween, and you can't really do that night twice in a row, obviously. But also, it's at the end of a 30-day tour.
Okay.
So it's really rough to come home and do 2 nights after touring for a month straight. So, you play Halloween, you put on a costume. We have a good costume, a group costume in mind this year. And then the next day I wake up and I'm with my lady and my dog.
I remember last year I just saw some weird... one of you guys was dressed up in something really interesting.
A Smurf?
Yes.
Yeah, it would be Tim.
That was fantastic.
There was blue paint all over everything after that.
Yeah. Well,
his Carlos Santana costume was
he's
pretty
an
great,
amazing
too.
Tim is undeniably the king of costumes in our band.
Yeah, it's the Smurf.
Yeah.
I always stand in the same... Whenever I go to Terragram, I love that venue, and Joe, the owner, is fantastic. I always stand in the same place. I have my little spot where I can hide.
Yeah, you won't even
watch.
come backstage, man.
I'm
trying to get him to come hang out with us. There's Twinkies and stuff.
But your gal always finds me.
Oh,
So
yeah,
I'm
she loves
staring
you,
at the
man.
ground, and I hear Henry. I'm like, oh, hey! She always knows where, like any venue I see you at, she knows my
It's
hiding
always the
hole.
darkest corner, not to give away your secret, but...
Well, my bright white hair kind of glows in the dark.
Where is that silver fox?
Silver rescue dog. And so we are going to spin the hard drive and come back with a 21-minute, 2-second epic. So stay tuned.
Hey, I'm Jason Bentley. Tomorrow on Morning Becomes Eclectic, we've got new music from Friendly Fires, the latest from Active Child, and new music from Big Thief. Also, tomorrow's giveaways, your chance to see jazz icon Herbie Hancock live at the Hollywood Bowl, and your shot at tickets to attend Desert Nights, a Harry Nilsson tribute at the Standard Hollywood. Morning Becomes Eclectic, weekdays at 9 on KCRW.
Fanatic, during the brief break, I was asking Mr. Dwyer on any of those like multiple night engagements, Thalia Hall in Chicago or New York or in San Francisco. Is there any concept of like every night a different set? And Mr. Dwyer basically said no, but I have a feeling that things happen anyway. Many years ago, my bandmates and I, we had this really cool idea that we're going to do 2 nights in all these major cities, 2 different sets every night with encores with really interesting people both nights. And we did like LA, Chicago, DC with like different people, like Vernon Reid night 1 and like Charles Gale, the avant sax player, night 2. That was New York. In LA, I think we had Dave Navarro and Perry Farrell one night, Flea and someone else the next night, and it was just these epic encores. And just like these, we'd kind of do a little bit of work, a sound check, like, okay, we'll do that, and the rest we'll just like make it in E so Henry can sing along, you know. And and so we would just, and it never failed. It was always really interesting, and we just never had a bad night with that. We just kind of trusted the night to happen, and every encore was just like ripping. And I'm not high on myself. It's not like I think everything I do is good. But we had the Butthole Surfers with us on stage in Austin, and that turned into this like oblong, kind of terrifying thing with Gibby and I on vocals. It was just really cool. So hopefully, you people in the sexy cities that get more than one night of the OCs, if I had my way, they'd be doing 3 or 5, 10 nights at the Terragram. But if you can go multiple nights, you never know. You might find some hidden gold in those sets. Right now, a track called Henchlock. What the hell does that mean? I'm so glad you're here, I can ask.
Henchlock initially was set up as the exhaustion of the henchmen, realizing that they've been doing the like evil's work. So like a bad guy, like an underling, realizing that he's been doing bad work for an evil man and getting all bunged up, locked up.
And so now we know the working relationship of John.
Don't
Dwyer
ever
and
look
the
behind the
OCs.
curtain. Yeah.
There you go. And so here's 21 minutes and 2 seconds of excellence.
information, baby. For your crime, evil makes the living, but they are fine. It's an evil nation, baby. Death and die. Looking out the window, baby. It's on fire. cup of tea. We all want cups of tea while we sit around.
That's every morning after you turn 55. It is about 36 seconds into Jason Kramer's show. Thank you so much, Jason, for this hangover into your show. Fanatic, we did it. We summited. We got all the way through every single second of Face Stabber. That was a 21-minute track called Henchlock. We have done all 4 sides of Face Stabber. Go to my website, henryrollins.com, and check out the website for Castle Face Records, or cut out the middleman. Just type in Castle Face Records. Go to the site. Check out the cool vinyl that is ready right now.
Thank you, Henry.
You got it, sir. Mr. Dwyer, Mr. Jones, thank you so much for coming in on the show.
Thank you very much for
and
having
thank
us.
you for flying all the way from the beautiful Midwest, coming straight to the studio.
Yes, sir.
And Matt, thanks for picking the man up.
No problem.
And thank you for answering all the cool questions. And so we did it, Fanatic. We can't thank these two guys enough. And as you two know, you're welcome here anytime. And so right now, you are listening to member-supported KCRW Santa Monica, Los Angeles, KDRW Santa Barbara, KCRI Indio Palm Springs, KCRU Oxnard Ventura, and KCRY Mojave Community Service, Santa Monica College, and NPR for Southern California. Fanatic, on behalf of me, Henry Rollins, your voice of choice, my brother and Sonic Jihad Engineer X, and Engineer Amrock, the Mighty Three, thank you profusely for listening. Until next week, Fanatic, stay fanatic.
Monday on Press Play. In the 60s and 70s, protests and music went hand in hand. Now, artists still write songs that denounce war, racism, and injustice, but they make videos too.
Music itself, pure music listening, may no longer be quite as important to people and used regularly. At some level, it's the visual component, and I think Childish Gambino is a great example.
I'm Barbara Bogave, Modern Protest Anthems. That's Monday at noon on Press Play here on KCRW.